It's time for Nip Talk.
You remember that girl, Kaitlin Armstrong? She was in the news, especially around here in Texas. She basically was dating some guy, and then they broke up, and then this new girl started dating the guy, and the new girl, her name was Mariah Wilson. She was a professional cyclist, and so Kaitlin Armstrong ended up killing her, shooting her. And then Kaitlin basically fled the country, and there was this thing because they couldn't find her. I remember when this was going on because it was in Texas. I think it happened in Austin, so that's not that far from us. And I remember hearing about it. So the girl was on the lam for a month and a half, and come to find out that she basically sold her car. She took that money. She flew to Costa Rica, and then she ended up getting plastic surgery to try to change her identity.
She's hardcore.
Man, that is pretty hardcore,
yeah.
Right? A lot of people don't go to that, that level. And so I think, Travis, I think I brought a picture. Yeah, here she is. So that's her on the left. And, you can kind of see on the right, she changed her hair color a little bit. And so
definitely got a nose job.
Nose job, right. Exactly right. That's exactly what she did. Her nose is very, very different. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm not sure that I would have noticed that is the same girl. If you look really hard, it's okay, the eye shape is very similar. Forehead looks the same, cheeks are, kind of the same, jawline and all that. And so she ended up getting caught, after, I guess, 45 days, someone kind of picked her out and she got picked up. But it just kind of got me thinking about, that whole concept of, can you truly change your identity with surgery? And it's kind of an interesting topic. Did you ever watch that show, either one of you guys, Narcos?
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
Jones, you ever watch that show, Narcos?
I caught bits and pieces of it. I wasn't really big into it.
Yeah, I kind of like those shows, the historical, drama shows. I kind of eat them up. And so, I actually watched those. And so there was actually a big cartel guy, Amado Fuentes, I think was his name. He was on the show. Remember, he was the pilot guy.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the pilot. And then, and these are all true stories, right? The Narcos,
right.
For the most part. I'm sure they fictionalized it a little bit. But
right.
He ended up rising up through the ranks, and he kind of became a boss after a while. And then I think he got a lot of heat because everyone knew who he was. And so, he went to have plastic surgery to change his identity, and he died in surgery. And, then there was the question of did the surgeons kill him, that. But those guys, the surgeons ended up getting axed. Basically everyone died. But so, I was just doing a little digging, I always like to look up, stuff when we start talking about topics. And so I was on this plastic surgery webpage for some other plastic surgeon, and they'd written this little blog excerpt. It's well, really, this is the thing of movies. You can't really do this. And I was I don't know. I really disagree with that. I think that if somebody really was motivated, and if they could find someone willing to do it,
and had enough time to do all these procedures.
Well, that's
it's could you do everything you needed to do to make you completely unrecognizable in one?
I think you could.
thing?
Now I'm not saying that this is safe. So please, by all means, people out there, don't
go do it.
Don't go do this. But realistically, yeah, you could. When I think about doing mommy makeovers and stuff, we put people under anesthesia for 7 or 8 hours, very commonly. And nowadays that's very safe to do because, the anesthesia these days is extremely safe, and especially for patients who are healthier, right? If somebody was really sick, they had heart disease or COPD from smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day for 50 years. Yeah, put them under anesthesia for a long time would be potentially harmful to them. But, for a young, healthy person like yourself or me, you could put them under anesthesia for quite a bit of time. So I was just kind of thinking, just for fun, well, one, I don't know, if you guys suddenly were on the lam, would you guys do this? I guess it really depended on, how dire is the situation, right? I guess, I don't know,
I can't say that I would get plastic surgery if I was on the lam. I'll probably I would take my chances hiding out. I have an issue with knives and needles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to catch you in my office anytime soon?
Probably not.
Well, you can come up and visit. We'll just hang out.
Oh, for sure. I got you. For sure. I'm there.
I don't know, I think about it, and obviously, we're all kind of good law-abiding citizens, but what if something happened, right? Something crazy, and you had to
or just somebody was after you.
Yeah, maybe somebody's after you.
But you didn't do anything wrong.
Right, it could be a good plot for a movie. But so I started thinking about, okay, so if I was going to change someone's identity, right, how would you go about it? Well, There's a lot you could do. Let's start with your hair. So that girl changed her hair, which I think is very smart. I mean, I would have done it more drastic. Like, it was kind of the same length and she did color it. I probably would crop it off, like go like something, get like the mom cut, go from the long to the mom cut. But there's also things you could do. There's certain drugs you can take, which can increase your hair. There's certain drugs you could potentially take to make yourself lose your hair. People take anabolic steroids and really boost their testosterone. And women could do this too. Like you could literally like cause yourself to like, go bald.
Yeah.
Now I know that's hardcore, but I mean, if we're on the lam, right? Like you've got to start like thinking outside the box. Then you think about your forehead. If you have wrinkles, you could get Botox. Like there's brow lift surgery where you could kind of eliminate that altogether, which we don't really do brow lifts anymore, but in this fictional scenario, maybe we could. Then your eyes, like remember Travis? We did the episode about the cat eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We weren't here for that one. So the cat eyes is kind of a thing that was a trend for a while, where people were like basically making their eyes, if they were more circular, more to like more almond shaped.
Right.
And you know what, Dr. Hermann, I changed my mind. I would, if I'm going on the lam, I think I would do the plastic surgery.
Yeah.
But I would want them to make me look like Idris Elba or somebody like that. I need the Idris Elba package.
I mean, if you're gonna have surgery, man, you might as well come out looking really good. Although would that draw more attention to you? Then everybody would be like,
no, because then everybody would be like, oh, you're that famous guy, and you're like, nah, that's not me. So they'll just be so obsessed with the fact that you might be a celebrity, and then they'll just forget about it.
Facts.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. Right? They're definitely not going to think the celebrity is the one wanted for whatever it is we did.
Exactly.
But yeah, you could change the shape of your eye. Then nose. I think that girl. The one thing that makes that girl look really different in that picture is she really changed her nose.
Yeah.
And I would say that honestly, I don't really prefer the way her nose looks, but I mean, at the end of the day, it does look a lot different, and that is one of the key features of the face, which makes you. I would say eye shape is big. Nose, which you could change with like rhinoplasty. Then your cheeks, that girl didn't have like really prominent cheeks. She could do things like fat grafting or fillers to like change that.
I would have gotten colored contacts too.
Ooh, that's a good one, right? Because they always put like the eye color on those sheets, right? It's like blonde hair, green eyes.
Yeah, I would have like changed my hair, like bleach blonde, got blue contacts.
Yeah, she like lip fillers, and like if you want to go hardcore, you can start to change the shape of your face with like implants. Like you can get so for example, like that girl had a pretty wide jaw. She could have there are surgeries to reduce your jawline. She could have done things like a chin implant. There's a lot she could have done. I mean, maybe she ran out of money. I think
probably she only sold her car, right?
Yeah, right. Because I was starting to, I was looking at all these things that potentially I could do. Because I'm like, okay, in this imaginative scenario, somebody comes to me and says, all right, I'll give you, $1 million to whatever. It's like, okay, could I do all this in one day? I think I could. You're talking about changing your eyelids, changing your eye shape, potentially implants, jaw, chin, nose job. Yeah, you could do it. I mean, it'd be a full day, but it's doable. And I started thinking, okay, if you were gonna go to somebody and have all this done, how much would it cost? Because I wouldn't just do it for the purchase price, right? Because obviously this person is
yeah, that's
hot.
probably what she wasted all of her money on, is because of the discretion.
Yes, right? Because you don't want anybody to say anything. But yeah, I think to do all that, you'd be probably looking at $25,000 to $40,000 if you're gonna have that many surgeries. So she needed to sell more than just her car.
I was about to say, that's got to be a pretty expensive car. I couldn't sell my Honda, you know what I'm saying, and try to get the full package plastic surgery. I wouldn't be able to do it.
It makes you wonder though, are there people out there that have actually done this and got away with it? Because you think, I'm kind of like a history and crime buff, and you hear of these people that did things and never found them. I mean, is it because they went and had plastic surgery? I bet there's people out there, right, that have done that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely people out there that are wanted and never been found.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they've had plastic surgery. I don't know, it's very interesting.
I mean, people, they don't change their identity, but they definitely look completely different than who they were.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could, first thing I guess, change your face, but then you can get fake identities.
Yeah.
I wonder if the government, you ever heard of the witness protection program? Do you think they ever do surgery on people to change them?
I don't know.
That would be a good gig, actually, because I think about, if somebody came to you and wanted to do that, they're probably somebody who would probably kill you to keep you quiet. But if you worked for the government, you could potentially change people's identity for witness protection.
Undercover stuff, too.
Right, yeah, because the government's not going to, off you for changing someone's identity.
So we have a guest in the booth, Rebecca. She actually brought up a good point. She said Face Off, the movie Face Off.
Well, yeah, so face transplant, I mean, that's another thing. I mean, of course, I know that'd be trickier because, if you do face transplant, then you got to take all these drugs, I mean, I guess you could do it, but it'd be easier to track you, because if somebody had known you did it, then all they have to do is search, for where those prescriptions, because those drugs are not common.
Jeez.
So I'm thinking, man, oh, that's not a bad idea, but, that does leave a little bit of a trail,
That's
and if you don't want to get
insane.
caught, you got to think about these things.
Yeah.
It's the little things that get you.
Yeah. It's crazy what you can do whenever you're putting
Desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're desperate, right?